Hey everyone, I'm Victor Dwyer, and this is the Marketing Perspective Podcast, where we get experts in the marketing field and get their new perspective on what's happening in the marketing field. And today we have Jorrit on, and the CEO of Channel Engine. I'm really excited to go through profitability tactics, also fulfillment tactics, and really just dive into what's happening in the space. Jorrit, please give a quick introduction of like who you are and how you got into all of this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Victor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the founder and CEO of Channel Engine, and I've been into e-commerce for 20 years, built several e-commerce companies, including running our own e-commerce operations, 75 e-commerce stores. And back then, we had to build everything ourselves: e-commerce platform, warehouse management system, etc., etc. And then many years ago, we started building a marketplace and selling on marketplace, and we were clearly missing the tools. So what do you do then? You build them. So that was the start of Channel Engine about 10 years ago. And since then, we grew massively worldwide. So at the moment, we've got 220 people worldwide um, across the globe. So we've got channels in Europe, North America, and Middle East, Southeast Asia, Australia live. Latin America's live. So many channels are popping up. And the majority of the focus is optimizing Amazon, but not just Amazon. So we connect more than 700 marketplaces worldwide, and we allow our sellers to connect to a lot of logistics partners as well to help them with the last mile.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. And what I wanted to talk about for my first question is there are so many Amazon sellers that get almost 60 or 70% of all their revenue just from Amazon alone. And if there's any other diversity that you would bring in from another channel, what would be those top three channels that you would bring in?
Yeah, so that definitely depends on the vertical they're selling in. So Amazon is super interesting. Lots and lots of customers, leading in many regions like North America, many countries in Europe. But it's also 600 million products you have to compete against. So if you're a real Amazon seller, you know how hard it is to get into that top 10 ranking in a specific keyword or a specific category. If you look at different
Mhm.
platforms, the most obvious one in North America is Walmart, but you have so many more. Then it's easier. Um, so if you look at a general product, it can be Walmart, it can be Target, it can be many other platforms. But if you look at, for instance, apparel, fashion, home and living, there are very specifically focused vertical marketplaces that you can use. And if you look at it from a global perspective, for instance, if you want to sell fashion, you go to Europe, there's Zalando, go to Southeast Asia, there's Zalora. And that's also what I mentioned now. It is an international game you can play. So a lot of Amazon sellers only focus on North America or maybe a few more regions. But if you automate it well, have the right partners, you can really scale this globally. And that's a super interesting one because there's less competition on all these different platforms than you typically have in your home market on Amazon.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's really amazing. What are some other international markets that you would want that other sellers in America should be going to, whether if it's Europe, whether if it's Mexico, like international conversation, where should people be going to internationally?
What I see most is American companies testing out Europe because there's a massive consumer market over there. It's super mature. The other region is Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is a little bit different than North America because Southeast Asia is driven by these promotional days. So where we have Black Friday, super relevant for this week. Um, in Asia, you have got 9/9, 10/10, 11/11 Singles Day, super well known, and the majority of the revenue is in those times. So the easiest, or relatively easiest, for American companies is to bridge towards Europe because the marketplace tactics, the marketplace platforms are relatively similar. You can leverage FBA, you can leverage multi-channel fulfillment from Amazon, but you can also leverage a lot of third-party logistics providers that are used to ship cross-border across these countries.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And what would you say some like profitability wise? What are some within like Q4? Obviously, the cost of advertising on Amazon is going up and things like that. What are some strategies you would give to an Amazon seller to increase their profitability?
Yeah, so if you look at Amazon sellers, per se, I would
Mhm.
always recommend to go multi-channel. Um, have a combination of fulfillment by Amazon for your top sellers, as well as a third-party logistic provider where you have your other products in stock, and then you can sell on other marketplaces as well. So you can optimize your sales um, to be very profitable, driving traffic not only on Amazon to the Amazon pages, but you can also leverage other channels as well. So you can drive traffic from Facebook, from Twitter, from all kinds of social media platforms into Amazon, optimize or accelerate your sales velocity, and make sure your organic rankings are floating at top. If you use a 3PL, you can do new tactics as well. So if you use
Mhm.
FBA, it's kind of hard to create bundles, for instance, especially virtual bundles. Virtual bundles are a very good way to drive your average order value. So if you sell, I don't know, some cheap items like glasses or plates, if you make a combination bundle out of it, then you can create a higher average order value. And Channel Engine has the ability to list those as a new ASIN on marketplaces,
Mhm.
and then can drive a lot of value in your e-commerce stream.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I want to get your thoughts on Walmart. Um, there's a lot of hype around Walmart by getting on Walmart, but the sales, I haven't heard anyone that actually got a lot of sales on Walmart. What is your thoughts on Walmart and the success of Walmart?
I think it's the same as Amazon that you need to put your attention in it. So you need to learn the platform, the algorithm, and then make sure you are there on the platform with the right price. So the competition on Amazon is a little bit different than on Walmart is different than Amazon. So really put the focus on there, not just dumping the product on the
Mhm.
platform and then hoping for the best. The same wouldn't work on Amazon. If you would just put products on Amazon and you don't give them the right attention and the right advertising spend, building up your reviews, then you're missing out. So really use it as a product launch like you would on Amazon, and then you can make money on Walmart as well.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And then I wanted to also ask you, what are some key strategies for establishing a brand presence in the D2C space without alienating existing customers on your marketplaces?
Yeah, so we work for multiple companies that can be large, well-known brands, as well as Amazon sellers or retailers. So if you look at the
Yeah.
large, well-known brands, typically a marketplace is already a customer of theirs. But other platforms like Macy's and Sears are also their customers. What you see happening is they are buying less at the moment because money is expensive. They want less products on the balance sheet.
Hmm.
So they're all shifting towards becoming a marketplace.
Hmm.
Um, so the customers of these brands, being the large retailers, are actually asking of the brands to sell on the marketplace. So in that sense, they're not alienating their customers.
Good.
You have a different perspective as well. If you look at the end consumer of these brands, they just go for convenience. They go to any platform they like. They have a user account, maybe have a Prime membership, etc., and they just want to find the product there in their whole search. So you need to be there where the consumer is, and that doesn't just mean Amazon. If you go into new regions, there are so many other platforms you could use. If you go into other countries, especially outside of North America, Amazon is not always the main platform. So that's
Hmm.
one second. I have to decline someone. It's not always the main platform. So you definitely need to have these other platforms in mind as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And what is your thought on the new social commerce platforms like TikTok Shop and Facebook Marketplace, Instagram Marketplace? What are your thoughts on all that and the success of that?
I think it's super interesting. For Western Europe, North America, it's relatively early, but a lot of people are underestimating it. So we were the first one fully integrated with TikTok, Southeast Asia, and the UK. In Southeast Asia, TikTok already was the third largest e-commerce marketplace out there in terms of GMV,
Really?
and it was rising so fast that Indonesia decided to a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of things are happening, and it's a different type of buyer. So especially the younger generation is just looking on social media for products to buy. If you look at the hashtag TikTok made me buy it, you see a ton of products. And a lot of were already driving a ton of traffic to e-commerce, but now it becomes transactional. So TikTok made the bold shift to make sure if you want to sell something on TikTok, that you actually have to purchase it on TikTok. So TikTok is like Amazon. You have to connect your inventory, you get your order through TikTok, and the purchase is done on TikTok. And because they are doing this, Instagram is driving more as well. So Meta just announced that they're going to do a collaboration, or they launched a collaboration with Amazon, where Amazon sellers can connect their social media accounts to drive the traffic. And it's a different profile of buyers, because on social media, it's more impulse buy. And if you go to Amazon, somebody knows what they want to get and they're going to search for it. So definitely leverage both, especially with new products and gadgets,
Mhm.
cosmetics, fashion. Just leverage the social media platforms and do it early.
And TikTok is really pushing the TikTok shops really, really hard. When like almost every single ad I get is about like TikTok shop and like launching on TikTok shop and things like that. So they are pushing it really, really hard, especially in their algorithm. And I think it has a lot of potential avenues of being successful. But this is another interesting conversation of we thought the same thing would happen with Instagram shops, like the Instagram shopping in the Facebook marketplace type of scenario, but that didn't end up being successful. Do you have any thoughts of why Instagram shops weren't as successful when they first launched?
Yes. So a couple of years ago, Instagram launched their Instagram checkout,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't push it. So they only opened it up to 50 brands. They didn't other brands. So it wasn't a common thing. TikTok fully opened it up. And what Instagram
Mm-hmm.
didn't do is they didn't cut off the clicks towards the Shopify stores. TikTok did. So they said, we want to go and become a marketplace. So let's just kick off all the clicks going out to Shopify and make sure you have to transact on TikTok. Um, that
Mm-hmm.
also pushed Instagram to open up the checkout further, do the collaboration with Amazon. So it's now accelerating because TikTok did this. But I think the drive wasn't there. They called it beta for I think 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they were afraid of not making as much money as they did on clicks. But it's now they have to because there's new competition on the block.
Yeah, no,
And I think
that's really
one more
smart.
thing to add,
Mm-hmm.
if you leverage TikTok now, their fees are super low compared to the regular marketplaces. So I've
Hmm.
seen differences where a normal category would be like 15% of the GMV as a fee. TikTok was charging 5. So there is
Hmm.
some margin to be made if you are early. Also, there are not that many sellers as compared to Amazon. So jump on it, test it out, make some money now when it's early.
Yeah. The thing I can't get my head around when it comes down to TikTok is the buyer intent is seems so much lower. So like for example, when I run Facebook and Instagram ads to a brand, I usually have between a 1 to 2 ROAS. That's usually a normal ROAS, but like return on the advertising cost of the sale. And then when I do that same thing with TikTok ads, it's either their targeting is off or that like the TikTok buyer isn't interested in buying it. I can't exactly figure it out. We get a lot of clicks, but not a lot of purchases. And I can't figure out if it's the platform. Like I'd love to get your thoughts on that buyer, whatever you think that issue may be. If you have any insight
I
there.
think it's because it's new. I think it's because it's new, especially in North America. So people are not used to buying on TikTok. Um, people are used to buying on
Yeah.
social media. So it's early stage. Once people know they can buy on TikTok, it will be driving up more sales. So it's the volume is there, the number of people are there, and at that spot of ideal optimization between your ads and the conversions is there, but it takes a lot of testing and making sure the buyers get used to it. But it's more of an
Yeah.
impulse buy. So I would guess if you start testing with your ads, for instance, in the evening, once people had a few wines, that's where the most buys take place.
Hmm. So, what would be your recommendation if you were recommending a brand to either, from a time allocation standpoint, they only have time to do TikTok or Walmart? What would you recommend to put your money into if you see one of them being successful in the future?
I think if you're a seller with generic products, I would to start off with. If you're in cosmetics, gadgets, fashion, definitely start testing with TikTok. But I would also say just test both. Test multiple channels. We've got
Yeah.
customers running 60 channels with a team of 2. So why choose
Wow.
one over the other if you can automate it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Last thing I want to touch on the TikTok conversation is Amazon Inspire. Have you checked that out yet? It's like it's on the Amazon app, like where it's like Amazon Inspire. It's like basically copying exactly what TikTok is, but in like the Amazon form. It was just like really blew my mind away. It looks like exactly like TikTok, but on Shopify or on Amazon, and completely blew my mind away. So that was exciting as well. If you have any insight on Amazon Inspire.
Yeah, I haven't seen any super successful results there yet because it's not a big social media platform. You're not going to swipe there on Amazon. But I think that's also why they launched a collaboration with Meta because the users are on Meta. But everybody's copying the same model. So didn't see any successful traction yet on it stage for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And I want to dive into the automation of what you said for automating all these other channels. So normally, a lot of people think that it's going to be very, very hard to get on these other channels like Target or any of these other things because of the logistics involved with getting it. Can you give some insight to someone possibly wanting to get into multi-channel and how potentially easy that is to set up rather than being very complicated?
Yeah, you dropped off for a minute, but yeah. So how easy is it to sell on multiple marketplaces?
Yeah.
Most to get your product information in one central location, get that connected to Channel Engine. Channel Engine has those connections to all the different marketplaces to distribute it, and then make sure you have one or multiple locations where your products are stored, a third-party logistics provider, Amazon FBA, your own warehouse, and you connect those and decide based on business rules what you want to sell, where, and why, for what price. And after you did that, everything is audited. So as soon as the order takes place on Walmart, we take it off of Amazon. The order flows into your warehouse, trace information flows back to the marketplace, and the order flows to your financial system. So it's a super process, which we can do a lot more with a lot less people. So we do have customers that only use it for Amazon because that's where they are, and then start diversifying with one channel. We do have customers that do this strategically, have 50, 60 channels all at the same time with a small team, and really leverage those regions where there's less competition and where they can optimize their sales from the same stock levels.
Awesome. Yeah, and are there any other like strategies when it comes down to like either inventory or multi-channel for like 2024, like as we come up to that year, that you would recommend for sellers to either implement on their multi-channel strategy or in their inventory strategies?
Yeah, I would definitely say to the majority of the sellers to start doing multi-channel. For a lot of them, it's the first time. Start with one or two extra channels, optimize the processes, and then expand from there. Um, and then look at different channels to add them in your local region, and then choose one or two new international regions where you can definitely leverage the market that is out there that you're not tapping into. So just start off with testing out.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. And I want to go into a little bit about the black hat tactics for um, other marketplaces and get your initial thoughts of like Amazon shut a lot of these down and going into what your thoughts are on for them on other marketplaces as well. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to share too many black hat tricks. You guys know them and can find them online because some marketplaces will be listening in on this call as well. But everything everything that is that Amazon is working against, you can still leverage because a lot of retailers that are becoming a marketplace, and those are a lot. They don't have the bandwidth or the expertise to check on how you're asking for reviews and stuff like that. And sometimes they even like it to that you drive traffic from externally and those kind of tools. There are a lot of tactics you use to work at Amazon, but you can still do them in many of the other marketplaces. So
Mhm.
happy to share a link somewhere with some information, but not on the video call.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Um,
You know which tactics I'm talking about, right?
yes, I know very well. I did lots of them. So I want to also ask you, what are some other ways, other recommendations that you would give sellers to help them increase their profitability and increase their sales? You went through a little bit, but do you have any other strategies of how to increase profitability for sellers?
Yeah, increase profitability for sellers, leveraging a combination of fulfillment by Amazon, fulfillment by Walmart, in combination with the 3PL. So sometimes FBA can be cheaper for logistics if you sell something on Amazon, but if you leverage multiple platforms, you can use multi-channel fulfillment, but it's more expensive compared to a high volume third-party logistics provider. That's one part. The other one, definitely start working with virtual bundles. So combine different kind of products, test them out. We have some customers that were selling t-shirts in all kinds of colors, and they created virtual bundles with 3 black ones and a red one, or a combination white and black. And some of them sold a couple of hundred times, and one of them sold 23,000 times, just because it's that ideal combination. And if you have to pre-package that, that's a lot of work. But if you can just
Mm-hmm.
create an image, create a virtual bundle, you already uplift your average order value. Um, so that's an important one. Uh, Leverage TikTok, lower fees, um,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely go into.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And is there anything else that we talked about previously, that any other insights that you want to add on to any of these conversations you had? It could be about inventory, could have been about profitability, could have been about social commerce. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on to any of those conversations before?
Yeah, I think if you look at your whole assortment, so some of our customers have a couple of hundred products, some customers have hundreds of thousands of products. Uh, every assortment has a Pareto rule, the 20-80 rule. 20% of the products are doing 80% of their sales. Really focus on those top gems, optimize those, make sure your ad spend is focused on your optimal performing products. And one of the things that not everybody knows, but it's super important if you're on any marketplace for the first time, is that your ads, your pay-per-click ads, can influence your organic rankings. So if you start spending on ads, don't test it out. Just spread over time, because it doesn't have the influence. Just move all that budget forward and really do a product launch. There's a lot of videos on YouTube how to do a product launch. Make sure you increase your sales velocity in a very short time, and do that super well. If you don't know how to do it, get one of the consultants to do it. Victor can help you probably out as well to launch a new product. But it's super important to do that instead of just putting your products on any marketplace and then do a drip campaign, because it doesn't move the needle at all.
Yeah. No, that's super helpful. And you've built a lot of expertise in a lot of different areas in the B2C space, B2B, direct to consumer, e-commerce, and things like that. How have you seen the e-commerce landscape over the years go? And what are the most exciting and most impactful trends that you've been seeing? So you have a lot of data on the back end of saying, hey, here's what's happening. What are the most impactful trends that you're seeing in the D2C and e-commerce space?
Yeah, so the first trend I've seen over the years is that many years ago, a lot of small e-commerce stores where they could make money by just buying from a wholesaler and selling online. So those multi-brand resellers, they didn't add that much value. Then you had this phase where small entrepreneurs were buying stuff from Alibaba and selling it online with their own logo on it. That worked for a while. And now you really see it shifting towards unique products that are high quality. But also the big brands are starting to play the marketplace game as well. So the
Mhm.
super big brands are now really focused on learning this game, where they used to be a vendor to the marketplaces. They're all becoming a seller to marketplaces. They all launched their own .com for certain brands, and I think the .com should always be your D2C shop. Should always be one of your um, one of your channels. So next to Amazon, next to Walmart, next to any other marketplace, and you should really optimize also again for margin. So what you can do is if you have limited amount of products, you can make sure under a certain threshold that you only sell it on your own D2C if that's more profitable. If your own D2C is too expensive because of the ads, then leverage one of the cheaper marketplace channels where you have lower fees, lower return rates, and then can optimize those sales. One of the challenges that a lot of brands have is if they sell on a marketplace, how do you get your consumer data? So one of the new things that is popping up is NFC tags, QR codes. So as soon as the product comes in, you can tag it, and then people can log in for extra warranty or additional products, and then you can get them in your own marketing funnel. So that's something that is starting to happen more and more. So super interesting development. So that's stuff I see. What I also see happening is that a lot of retailers are becoming marketplaces at a massive scale. So I already told you we connect 700 marketplaces, and almost every week we get approached by new platforms that are considering to become a marketplace or are already a marketplace. That's happening
Hmm.
worldwide. You will see more consolidation. You see marketplaces rolling out new marketplaces. For instance, in Spain, there's Miravia, which is owned by Alibaba. So next to AliExpress, they launched Miravia, purely higher end focused on women. And you see Shopee out of Southeast Asia, they launched in Latin America. You see marketplaces that are using our software to sell on other marketplaces. So there's a lot of things happening. If you
Yeah.
are in the luxury space, have a look at Southeast Asia, have a look into Dubai, because there are some opportunities there as well. Very high price point, luxury items. You can sell them there, and then it's worthwhile sending them over there. And they're all opening up more cross border from externally, actually opening up warehouses in the US where you can ship it to, and they will do the end delivery into Dubai. So lots
Wow.
of opportunities popping up. Don't just think into North America, but also outside of it.
Yeah, that's really smart. And what are some common misconceptions about multi-channel fulfillment that you usually see when people come to you?
Misconceptions. It's hard.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's uh, it's not super easy, but once you set it up, it's very good to expand it. So, and that's just a matter of automation.
Hmm.
A lot of other misconceptions is Amazon is the only one that matters because the most consumers are on Amazon. But if you look at the ratio of consumers versus the number of sellers, then a lot of other marketplaces are way more interesting because some marketplaces have 20 million products, some even a couple of 100,000 products. And compared to those number of products, a lot of more sellers on these platforms.
Hmm.
If you look at, for instance, on Amazon, it's not the best platform to sell fashion. Maybe the basic socks, underwear, t-shirts, maybe shoes. If you look at fashionable items, really look at other marketplaces as well. Um, Mentioned Zalando in Europe, Zalora, Southeast Asia, and they are really geared towards fashion. Their algorithms are different as well. So where Amazon optimizes for products that have sold for a very long time with a lot of reviews, these platforms are focused on is the collection new. So new items are prioritized in the ranking. So it's a completely different game.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And the next thing I wanted to ask you was with Channel Engine, where do you see Channel Engine going? And what are some like future things that you guys are working on to strategically put yourself in the marketplaces to make you guys successful?
Yeah, so what we are doing is also a two-sided marketplace. So it's a network effect that we have to build. You can imagine the first couple of years was super hard to get the first marketplace because we didn't have the brands, and then you don't get the brands because you don't have the marketplaces.
Mhm.
So you have to get through that first cycle. Now we are at a level that we have some of the most amazing brands of the world in our platform. So it's easier for us to get new marketplaces.
Mhm.
Um, 700 already, so we're growing towards 1,000 channels worldwide. We have very North America, Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia. We are expanding in Latin America, so that we will be doubling down in all these regions, making sure we don't only have the bigger marketplaces, but also the other smaller vertical platforms that are focused on specific categories. Uh, to really manage that well, we are continuously building our backend systems uh, to orchestrate everything. So if you have more than 5 channels, it's already hard to decide what to sell where, especially if you have a couple of thousand products. So if you don't have these tools and automations that are super user friendly, then you're missing out. So we're investing a lot in naturally AI to help out with optimizations of titles and descriptions. We're about to launch something for virtual bundles, which generates images on the background. So you can really create a lot of virtual bundles with lifestyle images without going to a photo studio, those kind of things. Um,
Mhm.
Optimizing margins. We're continuously tweaking our pricing engine. There's some new innovations coming out there as well. So basically, everything you need as a seller to do e-commerce at scale. Um, and one of the things is forecasting where do you need to uh, stock how many products in which warehouse to optimally fulfill,
Cool.
and lots of other stuff.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what would be the one takeaway that you would give to the audience after watching this whole thing? What would be the one takeaway that they should go and do right now to start getting ready to increase their sales in the future?
If you're only selling on Amazon, start selling on at least one other platform and then diversifying. Um, Test it out, get your processes ready, and then really start accelerating on multiple platforms.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Please tell the audience how to find you, how to find more about Channel Engine, and all that information.
Yeah, so you can find me best probably on LinkedIn. So my name is Jorrit Steinz. We can drop a link below the video as well. Oh, there it is. You can follow us on LinkedIn with our company name as well. So Channel Engine, as well as um, channelengine.com, the website. Feel free to reach out to our teams. We've got teams all over the globe. So reach out and we'll happily help you out.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is the Marketing Perspective Podcast, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.